My name is Kris Walker.
These three young men had known each other from childhood, from high school, living in Paris, California together, and they traveled down to Coronado to visit some friends. They're men of faith. After they filled up gas, got together and prayed on the way home, said, let's have a safe trip home.
We're all gonna stay up for the night, so we can make it home. We're not that far from home, maybe less than an hour.
This 50-year-old defendant, a former police officer actually, with no criminal record, made poor decisions that night and had too much to drink. And she was driving along on the 15 freeway in the upwards of 90 to 100 miles per hour.
And then by the time we said we wasn't gonna go to sleep, we just saw a light, and then it just was a flash.
They had no idea it was coming.
Then it was like a bang, like a big boom.
It was like a bomb went off, and then suddenly the car just starts to roll.
It was just like bang, 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 like front bumper and bumper all the way down.
10 to 15 times over front end, back end, back end, and rolled down a huge, steep 300-foot ravine off the 15 freeway traveling north. In 1 second, 1 moment, everything changed. When the car came to a stop, instantly, two of the young men were basically fighting for their life. Kris is in the car, stunned. He looks around, kind of reaches out, and he sees his friends. He says, "Are you okay? Are you okay?"
The only thing they did was coughing up blood when I called their names a couple times. And then they finally started talking, but they were coughing up blood. They couldn't talk. So I just told them I was gonna get help.
This was 1 o'clock in the morning. It was dark. No one was around. And he had a gash on his head that required 17 stitches. He climbed out of his car and started a trek up to the top of the ravine. Halfway up the hill, he comes to another car that was flames, burning.
It was smoking from the start, like the little engine was on fire.
And he could tell, this car's about to burst.
So I just went to the window and started knocking on the window.
He looks inside the car and sees a sole occupant, one woman in the driver's seat.
She was already stuck between the steering wheel, her side.
What he did was look at her, and she looked at him and said, "Help me." That was the defendant's car. He, reached his hand in the car and he pulled her out.
I didn't hesitate. She asked for help, so I helped her.
I don't know how he got that strength after having just been tossed down this hill in this kind of a crash, but he did.
So I reached to her and she pulled on me and I pulled out the car.
He pulled her out of the car and then proceeded up the hill still. He still had halfway up to go in this 300-foot ravine. He was able to get to the top, and then no one was there. This is the 15 freeway, early in the morning. He was trying to wave his arms.
There was a big rig passing by and other cars passing by and waving and stuff.
Someone's got to stop here.
So then I just threw a rock and a piece of wood, and then they still didn't stop.
So finally, in desperation, really, he looks around and he sees a tire, one of the tires that had been disengaged from the car that tumbled down the cliff. He rolled the tire into the road, and that did disable 4 cars. And there was the help.
911 emergency, what are reporting?
I think we ran over a tire.
There's a vehicle that went up over the edge.
You'll see it. The rail's gone.
It's starting to blaze right now. There's a vehicle down there.
One of the guys, I think, got out or something. His friend is down there.
I have an injury here. Oh, God.
At that point, when the paramedics got there, they pronounced Davion Kelly dead at the scene. Brian was in horrible shape. All of his injuries were life-threatening. Broken bones and spleen injuries, chest injuries. He had 4 chest tubes. The way the ER doctor described it is somehow he got help quick enough in that golden hour that his life was saved. I think that's because of Kris Walker. I don't know if Kris realized that she was responsible. I think he was in the mode of somebody needs help and I'm gonna help them. That permeated through the way he testified, and when he walked on the stand, everybody was just sitting on the, edges of their chairs, and his testimony by far was the most compelling testimony in the trial. The defendant was convicted and sentenced to 9 years in the state prison.
It was really hard because it's still like an open wound to everybody. So and still we lost a life, and then I almost lost my cousin's life, and I could have lost mine too. Seeing the mothers be strong because they went through a lot also, it just made us pull through even harder.
Kris Walker rose above and beyond anybody's wildest expectations of someone who had just been through a huge crash like that. And he saved not only one, but 2 lives.